Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm just going to do a quick video for you. Might help somebody out there. So here's my new bearing. Here's the old race. And here's the new race. That slips in there, the bearing rides on that. So you got to punch out these old ones. Hammer and a punch, knock them out. And then you got to put the new one in. You need a special tool that drives the race down in there. Or you can take a punch and go along the edge, but if you slip you can damage it. You can take your old race, and I thought about this but then I looked it up on YouTube. Did see a guy doing something similar. He sanded the race down so it wouldn't get stuck in there, which I gotta sand this down, and I was trying to find a fast way to sand it. The sander wasn't really working, the handheld one. So I got a fresh piece of sandpaper. I'm gonna stick it on my drill here. Stick it on the so I was thinking, how can I get this, sanded down quickly? And then I thought of this. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be a little bit smaller. Fits down in there. Feels like it has a little bit of play. So that's good. I'm going to go ahead and try it. If you don't have a race driving set, these go on here and then they pound the race down in there. There's another way, because I didn't have this set. I was sanding down this old race, which you can see the bearing marks in there. It's kind of messed up. That's why I had to replace it. I'll show you how this fits in there. So I sanded it down so it won't get stuck. And we can drive the race in with this. If you don't have one of these sets, I'm going to put a link in the description and the comments of where you can find this on eBay. And I haven't used this yet. I want to try this cheap method. Alright guys, so I just about got it all the way driven down in there. Here's my one that's sanded, so that's able to fit in there, and I'm able to pull it out. But I'm out of rim to pound on, so here's another old race. This one would get stuck if I pounded it down in there too far, but it'll fit right on top of here, and I can continue pounding. And even though I have that fancy race driver set, I still decided to do it this way, just because I probably won't own this tool. I'm just borrowing it. I probably won't own it, and I want to have a way to do this myself and learn. So say if I'm ever out on the road and I have a trouble with my wheel bearings on the trailer, I'll know how to fix them. So I'm glad I'm doing it this way. I'm going to continue driving this. Just driving it slowly. Looks like it's all the way down there. I could hear it thud differently. But I'm going to make sure it's even, but that's all the way pounded in there. Now I got to do the other side. This is the front. Got it done myself. Makes me happy. Okay guys, well, so for the front side I'm going to use the race bearing kit to drive this in, but my sanded bearing method, I thought it worked really good to get that in. But this side I'm going to use the proper kit. Okay, another quick tip to get this started with the block of wood was a little difficult, but this actually helps you hit and feel where it needs to go down so it goes in here evenly at the same time, otherwise it'll get jammed and stuck. So you gotta go real slow and make sure you hit it even and you can feel it go down each time. But once I got it started, I'm gonna use this kit. Thank you, Josh. He likes to watch my videos. I'm going slow so I don't mess this kit up and I don't mess up my bearing or my race. And I've never ever done this before, so I'm a beginner. So if I can do it, you can do it. Alright guys, well the kit was working, but it kind of started getting stuck when it was getting in there. And I just don't want to mess his tool up anymore. He said this is the one he uses the most. He's had this kit for 15 years. But so I don't mess up his tools because he is pretty picky. I'm gonna finish this by using the old sanded race, since it worked so good. So just like that, guys, in 2 seconds I had this driven all the way down, and you just have a lot more control. So there's a different sound once it hits the lip in there. The sound changes when you're banging on it. But there's the second race done with old races. Perfect. So now I could do this job on the side of the road if I ever had to. But we're gonna get some new bearings put in here. And there's the spindle goes in there. You gotta grease these all up, grease everything up really good, pack the bearings. And I'm probably going to end up doing it to the other side. First I have to fix my spindle and make sure a bearing slides on there though, since it's a little messed up. Alright guys, so on my camper trailer, here's my spindle. I was repacking the bearings. On the other side everything was fine. The hub slipped right off. But on this side I ran into some trouble. It's like it's fatter back here and the bearing was stuck. And it was a nightmare getting it off, but I had to get a punch and finally got it off. But so I got to sand this part of the spindle. But I'm learning all about bearings and races. I got to put in new bearings now. Okay, we're gonna bring back Josh's race bearing set. Perspective of, yeah, I think so, yeah. bearing was stuck on there. And like I said earlier, it was a nightmare to get off. And this is kind of sliding on. This is an old bearing. I'm just testing. Needs to, I'm not sure how far it needs to go up here, but probably all the way. But this is pretty rough around here. I'm guessing the wheel bearing was getting hot. Kind of did a little damage to this spindle. So I'm taking sandpaper. I gotta get this spindle smooth because that bearing has to slip on there. If it doesn't, I make it a little bit coarser sandpaper. Been hitting this with the sandpaper, and down here there's just a little bit of a bump, and that's what it's getting stuck on. I don't know if you can see that. Instead of sanding it, I don't want to take too much material away while trying to get it by taking all this other material away. So I was going to try pounding it flat. Push it around just a little bit. Push it around so you don't carry too much. One spot. Push it down. Here's one bearing. One bearing, then it's right on the way. No, also, it's in. Alright guys, I wanted to show you a little trick I came up with to sand this spindle a little faster. I got my sandpaper rolled up. I got a vacuum belt. Got the sandpaper rolled up and taped. Got my vacuum belt. Now I want to be careful. I don't want to go too much, so I'm going to be checking it. And I'll touch it up by hand. But there's these little imperfections down here. Like a little bump. And it stops this bearing from sliding on. Oh my god. This is the first time it slid on. See, it's still a little, catch is still a little bit there. Need a little more. But that belt really helps. Just need to get it a little bit more. This slides on pretty damn good right now, but still catches just a little bit. And maybe that's okay, but I just want to get a little more. Time to put some grease in. I got a new tube of grease, all new grease going in. So you always want to have a paper towel handy, or maybe two. But here's the back. I'm going to put the back bearing in, but first you got to pack it. So you want to take some grease in your hand. And this is lithium grease. Heard to stay away from the synthetic stuff. Your bearings will get hot. But you want to keep working it until you see the grease come out of this crack up here. Gotta pack the bearings before we put them in. And every so often you're going to want to pack the bearings. But I'm going to go ahead and do the other side of my trailer now. I thought I could get away with just doing one side, but now I want to make sure both the bearings are the same, the grease is the same, so maybe they'll wear out the same. Okay, we got our bearing packed with grease. This is the back bearing. We're gonna go ahead and plop her in. The back should go like this, but I want to get some more grease in there. Here goes. I'm going to take my old bearing race and pound that in flush with the top of this. So that's pounded in, it's full of grease, got the seal on, so it's ready to slip onto the spindle. Go ahead and that seal needs to come up on this lip back here. Need to make sure that's in. This slides on. Front bearing all greased up here. Hopefully that's on. I'll have to look back there and check. My buddy, he says every trailer he's seen has had a washer. So mine just had this castle nut. So I might get a washer tomorrow. So I'm not going to throw the cotter pin in tonight. And it might rain tomorrow, so I'll probably put the dust cap on here just to keep any water out. Spin a little bit, get that grease working around. Then you just stick a cotter pin to hold the nut on after you tighten it up, and then back it off a quarter turn. Just leave it like that. Keep the rain out tomorrow. First time completely replacing the bearings on anything. I don't want these hubs rusting, so I just rub grease on everything. That's a good feeling. New bearings. Wow. Oh yeah. I just wanted to remind you guys that I'm not a professional. I've never even done this before. So don't do what I did without checking with an expert first. With that being said, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and enjoy. Thank you.